Steen?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Welcome to our lecture on the Harrit Syndrome, or why a normal dialogue with conspiracy theorists is not possible. My name is Steen Svanholm, which pretty much makes the other guy, Claus Larsen. Conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists are a hotly debated issue today. For more than 10 years now, we have investigated conspiracy theories, mainly regarding 9/11, but also done more broad research. In this lecture, we will present some of our findings. Conspiracy theories and those who believe in them is a fairly new field of science. We know more about serial killers without stretching the comparison too far. Therefore, we must stress that our explanations are not carved in stone. They are possible explanations, and only time will tell if we're right.
Our main focus will be the Harrit Syndrome, which we first described in a peer-reviewed article in Chaos. That's the Journal for Religious History at the University of Copenhagen. The Harrit Syndrome is based on the current research from a wide array of researchers. We are very much standing on the shoulders of giants here. And as we go along, we will also briefly mention some of our other findings. As for conspiracy theory types, we use Michael Barkun's distinctions. Barkun is a professor emeritus of political science and has published works on conspiracy theories and extremism. Barkun's first type of conspiracy theories is event conspiracy theories. 9/11, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the death of Princess Diana. The second type is systemic conspiracy theories, dealing with groups of evildoers. And the third type is super conspiracy theories, where theories are linked together in hierarchies. However, the body of research points overall to one type of conspiracy theorist, and we do not agree on that point. Our disagreement stems from the current explanation of why some people become conspiracy theorists. And this is what the current explanation is. If you lose trust in society or the system, and you also lose control with your life, well, you reach a point where you seek to regain that control. And you can do that by shrugging it off. You don't want to spend any more energy on this. You want to get on with your life. You can also choose other ways, like finding religion or become political, or in these times, go on social media and express your dissatisfaction. But you can also seek to regain control by externalizing your frustration. You start blaming external, secret, sinister forces. The reason the world is so terrible is due to them. Now, we have not found reason to doubt this explanation.
However, we have found that this explanation is incomplete. There's something missing. We discovered that during our interactions with conspiracy theorists, where we not only had to deal with the classical type, the argumentative Uncle Ernie at the family reunion, we all know that type. But we argue that there's not one type, but three types of conspiracy theorists. We have called the argumentative type, the argumentative uncle, for type 1, or the novice. The novice believes in one or more of Michael Barkun's event conspiracy theories. Princess Diana was murdered, Bush was behind 9/11. But the novice does not believe in systemic or super conspiracy theories. He doesn't connect the theories. Type 2, the preacher, believes in all three types of theories: event, systemic, and super conspiracy theories. For the preacher, everything is connected. We've chosen the term preacher because conspiracy theories make up his entire life. He can't talk about anything else, and he brings up conspiracy theories without being asked. We notice that this type of conspiracy theorist talks of a certain life-changing experience. He talks about having seen the light, having woken up, and having had a revelation. Niels Harrit is a Danish conspiracy theorist known worldwide for his claim that nanothermite has been found in the dust from the World Trade Center in New York after the terror attack on September 11, 2001. One day, Niels Harrit received a DVD about the World Trade Center 7, one of the buildings that were destroyed in New York. The DVD claims that the building was not destroyed as the official report concluded. That is, that fires in the building caused a progressive collapse. No, the reason for the collapse was ostensibly explosives placed in the building before the day of the attack. Watching that DVD changed everything for Niels Harrit. He pressed the repeat button again and again because he just had to see the building collapse over and over and over. Claus and I have not met or heard of a type 2 conspiracy theorist who hasn't experienced some kind of revelation. And we've chosen to call it a revelation because of the religious connotations mentioned above. Suddenly, the person realizes why he has lost control. It's not due to his own errors or coincidences, but an external enemy, a powerful and deliberately evil conspiracy. The revelation doesn't merely explain why single events have an evil intent. It becomes a comprehensive explanation. The world is not chaotically gruesome with individual evil acts. The world is deliberately and overall evil, where the evil is to be found in relatively few people and organizations. There's no doubt that this revelation has a tremendous effect on the people experiencing the revelation. Since Niels Harrit had his revelation, he has done his best to spread conspiracy theories, mainly by giving lectures and interviews in Denmark and the rest of the world. He says that he has not had a day off since then. Since Niels Harrit is also so famous, we have chosen to name the phenomenon after him, therefore the Harrit Syndrome. We have chosen to call the process of loss of trust and loss of control predisposition. To become a conspiracy theorist, you need to go through a predisposition. But to become a type 2 conspiracy theorist, a preacher, you need to have experienced a form of revelation as well. Note that you can become type 2 by first becoming type 1 or by experiencing the revelation right away. Our guess is that most type 2 preachers have undergone the novice phase first. So, the Harrit Syndrome is predisposition plus revelation. We've also spotted a third type of conspiracy theorist, the warrior. This type is characterized by being willing to commit violence during the final and physical clash with the evil enemy. The warrior is a preacher, but is so radicalized that he realizes that words alone will not produce the necessary changes. They will not be exposed and punished merely by talking about it. Action is needed. Terrorists belong to this group. Nearly all types of terrorism have conspiracy theories as part of their mentality. The difference between type 2 and type 3 is that when type 2 talks about action, type 3 acts.
Nobody seems to get their revelation on their own. It does not originate from within. There always seems to be a messenger with the same power as the messenger from God, delivering a revelation. Some of the most common messages can be seen here. When you speak with conspiracy theorists, they're prone to say, you gotta watch this YouTube video, meaning that you will then see the light just as they themselves did. Powerful slogans are also popular, like 9/11 was an inside job. And earlier on, DVDs were very popular as messengers. We've even heard conspiracy theorists refer to themselves as oracles. And lectures are especially popular. Niels Harrit has given about 500 lectures since the mid-noughts all over the world. And the message is clear. Go see Niels Harrit's lecture and you will receive the key to a deeper and truer understanding of who are really behind all things evil. Niels Harrit is one of the most predominant preachers in the world of conspiracy theories. So, when researchers overall point to one type of conspiracy theorist, we believe that there are three types: the novice, the preacher, and the warrior. And the three types of conspiracy theorists fit Barkan's three types of conspiracy theories, which we mentioned earlier. Type 1, the novice, believes in one or several event conspiracy theories. However, the novice does not connect the theories. And type 2, the preacher, and type 3, the warrior, they believe in all three types: event, systemic, and super conspiracy theories.
The Harrit Syndrome, predisposition plus revelation, has some terrifying consequences. As you experience more and more things that make your trust in the societal structures decrease, you also lose the feeling of having control of your life. If you have your revelation there are evil forces behind, you experience the return of a form of control, in the sense that you now have an explanation why the world is going to hell. But the control is not real, because the evil forces are still there. Your trust in society will plummet. There's no reason to trust at all. Democracy and freedom are illusions. You can't trust anyone or anything. A third factor is fear. As your trust decreases, your fear increases. And if everything is an evil conspiracy, all the more reason to fear much more than you previously did. You become fearful when you become a conspiracy theorist. And when you're afraid, you're an easy target for manipulation, and thus more susceptible to believing more and more conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theorists do not follow the accepted rules for how a dialogue should take place in an open democratic society. We've noticed a pretty consistent pattern of rhetorical manipulation, and we've chosen 4 such examples. Conspiracy theorists love to pretend that they have exposed information that the rest of society is unaware of. However, the information is rarely true exposés, but merely information that isn't too well known to the general public. This is used by conspiracy theorists to make the normal abnormal. The missing stars are claimed to be evidence of the Apollo missions being filmed in studio. But we shouldn't expect stars in the first place, because when NASA prepared the moon landings, the focus was not to take beautiful pictures of the sky. The focus was to document the astronauts when they were on the moon's surface, and that necessitated scheduling their stay when there was sunshine. The bright sunlight simply drowns out the stars. Another form of rhetorical manipulation is to make the unusual impossible. Now, it came as a surprise to most people when the high-rises in New York, World Trade Center 1, 2, and 7 collapsed. And conspiracy theorists claim that since steel-framed high-rises have never collapsed that way before, it's impossible that they did. Therefore, the official conclusion that fires caused the collapses must be a lie. But there's a first time for everything. The brothers Montgolfier's hot air balloon, the Wright brothers' motor-driven airplane, and the Apollo landings on the moon. Just because something happens for the first time does not make it impossible. Conspiracy theorists have great difficulty in decoding reality. They do not understand the reality that they criticize so heavily. And this means that they will interpret whatever they misunderstand as evidence of their conspiracy theory. Cell phone masts have for years been blamed for various forms of cancer, completely without documentation. And when the rollout of the 5G network began, it was also blamed for diseases. And of course, conspiracy theorists saw a golden opportunity to connect the COVID-19 pandemic with the rollout. 5G radiation must be the reason why COVID-19 is happening. A truly horrific example of rhetorical manipulation is the so-called Jew dodges, and they are constructed with the clear intent of avoiding accusations of anti-Semitism. One way is to simply say that you're not concerned with or familiar with a specific anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. You can also divide Jews into true Jews and false Jews, where the false Jews are the bad, evil people pretending to be Jews. Or you can simply say that the Jews you are claiming to be behind all things evil are not humans at all. Overall, conspiracy theorists avoid using the word Jew. Instead, they use Zionists. So if you're unaware of such manipulation techniques, it's easier for the conspiracy theorist to fool you into believing in his conspiracy theories.
This means that while other researchers have argued that there's one type of conspiracy theorist and thus one type of dialogue, we argue that we must choose different dialogue types for different types of conspiracy theorists. For more than a decade, we have had hundreds of debates and dialogues with primarily Danish conspiracy theorists. And we have found that conspiracy theorists pretty consistently use a method of 5 clearly defined forms of debate. We call the 5 forms false debate. If you can spot some or all of the 5 forms, you're most likely dealing with a type 2 conspiracy theorist, a preacher. Conspiracy theorists usually start at level 1, pretense. The conspiracy theorist asks a question that on the surface seems innocent enough, but is camouflaged as a claim. One example could be, why weren't there debris from a plane at the Pentagon? The question has a false premise, since debris was actually found there. When we've pointed this out in our debates, that the premise for the question is false, well, then the conspiracy theorist switches to the next level, smokescreen. He may want to sidestep the issue or change the subject entirely. He may also try to make it a question about what evidence really is. But we stick to the opening question. We're not going to talk about other things. We're going to talk about and finish what the conspiracy theorist wanted to talk about from the beginning, before we talk about other issues. This will not be acceptable to him, and he will then go to the next level, mudslinging. We've been called some of the worst things in the dictionary, as anyone who has engaged with conspiracy theories undoubtedly also has. But we ignore the harsh words and stick to the opening question. Let's finish this. So the conspiracy theorists run away from the debate. Interestingly enough, the very same conspiracy theorists may return at a later time, perhaps only a few days later, and continue with a new but same debate as if the first debate didn't happen. In extreme cases, he will resort to deleting his own posts or even try to delete the whole debate. This way, any evidence of his defeat is eradicated from history. And there's an overlaying tactic at play here. Pretense is about what should be debated. Smokescreen is about how it should be debated. And mudslinging is about who should debate it. Escape is about when the debate is over. And destruction is, of course, about whether the debate existed at all. False debate has only one purpose: to ensure that the conspiracy theorist controls the communication. This attempt of regaining control has the effect that he is willing to leave behind an essential feature in all civilized societies, that we may have a difference in opinions, but that we must obey common rules. Otherwise, society collapses.
This is why a normal dialogue with conspiracy theorists is not possible. We need a different approach when dealing with this segment of the population. And we call our method for countering false debate for focused dialogue. It consists mainly of 4 elements. We recognize that the conspiracy theorist has a desire to present his conspiracy theory. We keep an eye on one issue or claim at a time, no detours. We insist on facts, sources, logic, and science weighing more than opinions and emotions. And we use rhetorical kickstarters if the conspiracy theorist tries to hide, for instance, by concluding for him if he's very vague or refuses to answer. And finally, we are always polite. We are insultingly polite. We see several reasons to maintain a dialogue with conspiracy theorists, but it's necessary to realize that the purpose of the dialogue is not to convince him that he's wrong, because that is close to impossible. First, we gain insight into the mentality of conspiracy theorists. This is important because they think and act so differently than the rest of us. It's especially important to let bystanders know that the conspiracy theories are not true and that there is a better solution. Second, we find it important to document whatever happens in their environment. Conspiracy theorists often distance themselves from the general public. And third, we gain knowledge of how conspiracy theories should be prevented from spreading. And fourth, we see disturbing signs of radicalization and willingness to break the law.
We see these signs when we look at how conspiracy theories behave politically. The political spectrum is usually depicted as a line going from left to right. Only the extreme far left and the extreme far right fall outside the democratic window. The horseshoe theory is another way to illustrate it, where the political extremes are nearing each other, but are not directly overlapping. It must be said, of course, that the horseshoe theory has its weaknesses. The overlap, or near overlap, doesn't seem to be grounded in ideological similarities, but as a rejection of more moderate political views, because these are moderate. One seeks the extreme for the sake of the extreme. But that's the very reason why the horseshoe theory is applicable to how the three types of conspiracy theories stand politically. Conspiracy theories attract people from across the political spectrum. Type 1, the novice, generally stays within the democratic system. He may vote or be an armchair voter. Type 2, the preacher, however, exhibits a complex and contradictory behavior politically. He rejects the political democracy as rotten to the core, but he can also participate in the political debate, vote, and even run for office. Type 2 jumps in and out of the political system, depending on what the situation is. And then there's type 3, the warrior. He's probably found on each extremist wings, but is typically more found outside. There are some strong indicators that type 3 ignores the democratic framework completely, which was exemplified in the storm on Capitol on January 6, 2021.
Another telltale sign that conspiracy theorists have distanced themselves from the political landscape and society in general is their relationship or lack of relationship with the media. They complain about being censored when they don't get free and unlimited access to the microphone. But if you journey into their own world, you quickly discover that they are enforcing strict opinion cleansing themselves. If you're too critical, you're kicked out and perhaps even branded a disinformation agent, someone who deliberately spreads information designed to discredit conspiracy theorists. Self-reflection is not a strong suit in the world of conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists use a wide range of media when they try to convince the rest of us of the existence of them. Alex Jones have sold these videos from his media empire. In the videos, we are warned of an upcoming police state, chemtrails, and mystical and secret societies with sacrifices of both animals and humans. Books are also very popular as a medium, all with a sinister tone. You can buy t-shirts where you profess your support for gun ownership, also automatic rifles and machine guns. When conspiracy theorists venture out in society, they often express themselves in a threatening manner. Some appear with their faces hidden, some burn the flag of Israel, some throw out accusations of treason. There's clearly a tremendous feeling of anger and frustration among conspiracy theorists. Some even talk openly about how to fight from secret lairs in the wilderness when the final showdown comes. Not if it comes, but when it comes. Survival gear is big business in conspiracy theory land. And you don't need to spend much time in conspiracy theory land before the first mention of Jews pop up. You cannot separate anti-Semitism, Jew hatred, from conspiracy theories. Eric Hofschmidt is an American racist and conspiracy theorist. He was among the first to spread conspiracy theories about 9/11, that it was really Zionists who were behind the attack. That is, Jews and others who support a Jewish state.
Seen in context, these methods, ideology, and rhetoric must be a cause for concern. The question is, can these conspiracy theory movements control those conspiracy theorists that are also committed to violence? They couldn't control those elements on January 6, 2021, when conspiracy theorists stormed the Capitol with the intention of preventing Joe Biden from becoming president, as well as killing then Vice President Mike Pence and the leader of the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi. And the movements couldn't control these elements on January 23rd, 2021, when conspiracy theorists burned an effigy of Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, demanding that she was put to death.
So we end this short lecture with the frightening conclusion: ideology, rhetoric, and actions all point to a violent revolution. So let's quickly sum up why. There is not one type of conspiracy theorist. There are three: novices, preachers, and warriors. The Harrit Syndrome explains why some become preacher conspiracy theorists. They experience a revelation, they see the light, they wake up. When you become a conspiracy theorist, you become more fearful. Conspiracy theorists manipulate reality. Sometimes they even lie. Thus, a normal dialogue is not possible. If we are to have a dialogue, it must be a focused dialogue. conspiracy theories are a threat to democracy.
Yeah, that's it from us. If there's any time left, it's time for Q&A.
Oh yeah, so Spiro, you have a question.
Yeah, would you say conspiracy theorists are becoming more prevalent, or are we just more aware of conspiracy theorists? Have they always been around, but we're just not as aware of it as today?
Yes and no. The internet has made it much easier to spread conspiracy theories. And we know from research that motivated reasoning means that when you're exposed to merely hearing about conspiracy theories, you are more prone to believing in them. So yes, there are more conspiracy theorists today, but it also has something to do with that they are also easier to spot. Before the internet, they were mainly relegated to the fringes of society. Now it's almost as if they have taken center court.
Can I add a detail?
Yeah.
Sometimes the amount of conspiracy theorists seem to go up, and sometimes it seems to go down. It actually follows if there are disasters or big events in the world. More people will tend to think conspiracy like. For instance, in 2013 there was, I think it was about a rise in 20% of people who believed in the conspiracy of the killing of JFK, and it fell the following year. And that's probably just due to the fact that it was the 50th anniversary of the killing of JFK. So there was much more mentioning of it in the media.
And Terry Karp, you have a question.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting talk. One I think about a lot because I apparently know some conspiracy theorists. And in your talk, you gave a bullet list of reasons to confront, actually, try to confront conspiracy theorists. And I think you made the bystander, influence the bystanders, just kind of like part B of the first point. But I would suggest to you that that's more often what motivates me. Like, I know I'm not going to get through to this person, and I know I'm not going to find, global reasons why conspiracy theorists think like they do. But at least for, I can show the, for each nut that you're talking to, there's 20 to 30 to 50, people who are just watching and who are going, that sounds great to me. But if they have one person coming up to them and, pushing against them, we might keep those bystanders from falling into the hole. So what do you think of my suggestion that you elevate the bystander effect to its own bullet reason?
We could do that. When that is something that let's just say, not sound arrogant or anything, but the usual guy, the man on the every other man should do this. Simply confront with facts and logic. But you also have to realize that this can take a lot of time, but it's important that we do whenever we can, because the time is past when we can just let it go. If anything, this pandemic has shown us that it's not just threatening to democracy, it might even be threatening to our whole civilization, because these conspiracy theories about COVID-19, they are not just afflicting the individual conspiracy theorist, it influences everyone on this planet. So yeah, absolutely, we could pop it up a little bit. Absolutely.
Can I add a thing? We have a rule of thumb. It depends on the situation. If you're alone with a conspiracy theorist and having a debate with him or her, you're better off cutting the debate short or talking about something else, especially if it's someone you're related to, because it would just create a bad atmosphere. So make it short, because you can't change anything. You will only motivate him to be even more. To believe even more. But as you mentioned, if someone else listens in, or if it's in the social media, you might very well do the debate and argue the way Klaus just explained, and probably the way you already do, because you can affect the bystanders. And then there's a third situation. If you do research into conspiracy theorists, the best thing is to just shut up and hold the microphone, keep it open, because they're very willing to talk. So you learn a lot about them.
All right. So I guess if Rob Palmer has a quick question, you can try to ask that. You are the next speaker anyway, so if you want to cut in slightly into your own time, I guess.
Wait, I don't know if I want to do that. All right, I'll just say great talk, Steen and Claus.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was actually interested if you've seen the Netflix series. I don't know if it's available where you are, which is Inside Job, all about conspiracy theories and them all being real. Yep. What did you guys think of it?
Very interesting, very thorough, very well made. We should. Our time is limited, so we would really like to, go analyze the whole series, but maybe
we could talk about that in the break.
Yeah.
Yeah.